Welcome back to Spider-Man, Edge of Time. So
This thing is still going, my god.
well, don't worry, Pedro. It's almost over, actually, and it's accentuated by the fact that this part and the next before the finale are relatively short.
It's just mostly because, might as well since I haven't been speaking much, it's just because this game doesn't even give me that much to talk about because it's just boring to me. Like, I don't even find it...
It's more of a case of being stretched. What was the actual English quote used for in Fellowship of the Ring, where Bilbo says to Gandalf something like, I feel like butter stretched on too much bread, something like that.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh no! I got a better quote. It's from the first Doctor's final story in Doctor Who. I feel like I'm wearing a bit thin.
I think
Yeah,
a good way to
yes.
put it is like, well, okay, it's sort of a combination of being rushed but also being drawn out here. Allow me to explain here. This was made literally a year after Shattered Dimensions. Now, imagine having to write a plot a year afterwards for something that is not a visual novel. I mean, again,
You get right a premise, which is what the game does, right?
Yeah. Plus,
But
you can use assets.
again. For example, we saw. Okay, Justice for All is a miracle that game did not turn out
the
to be,
miracle never happened, Jova.
What are you talking about, Jova? Lightning Returns being developed over the course of a year didn't cause any problems now, did it?
Oh God. Okay.
I mean, according to yourself, Pedro, we managed to make a battle system was the best of the trilogy.
Well, that was Triace that did that, though.
Hold on, here we go. New enemy type introduction. This late into the game, it's a generic book with an axe.
He literally looks like one of the mooks from Arkham Asylum. Even got the orange pants and everything.
And who the heck are you supposed to be?
The one who's gonna kill you.
Great.
Oh, welcome to the club. They're having jackets made. What are you, Septuple XL?
Okay, that was funny.
But yeah, no,
I don't know.
well, remember, Teo, the reason, the part of the development core method for the sequels was that Triace was helping out to make sure the development took.
True.
So,
Anyway.
so we can thank Triace for the battle system, not so much the Square. Go ahead, Jova.
Like I said, though, I mean, Justice for All is a miracle that it didn't turn out to be a flaming wreck, and at worst, we can say that the third case sucks. But other than that, it turned out relatively well, despite having to be written in actually less than a year because it came out literally a year later.
Correct me if
Whereas
I'm
with
wrong.
this-
Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were finished.
However, part of Ace Attorney's charm is like, well, it can reuse a lot of assets without being called lazy because, you know, visual novel and all that.
Well, with
This, on
this
the other
attorney, it's
hand-
much. That's more understandable because.
Actually, I forgot if I ever asked this question, Jova. Between the GBA and the DS releases of Justice for All, were there any like minor additions, script revisions, and stuff like that for the Japanese version? Which eventually got carried in the official translation for the first release of the game.
A few, but they weren't as drastic as, you know, when we finally got it ported to the 3DS trilogy, where they outright made revisions to fit in stuff like Rise from the Ashes canon. Absolutely.
Okay.
But yeah, there were a few here and there.
Correct.
The problem with-
Sorry.
Now with this game, on the other hand, this game, okay, you could argue maybe they didn't want to reuse assets here. Fair enough. The problem is that they pretty much had to write out a plot lengthy enough. So when they figured out that plot couldn't be lengthy enough, they then arbitrarily padded it out. So
Yeah.
basically what happened was like, well, they first rushed it, but then they had to pad it. That's
Yeah.
a pretty deadly combination.
I do
if I
wonder
do
have-
if
say
the
so.
gameplay changes forced Peter David's, the writer's hand, in writing, because I still refuse to believe that a writer like him, even though he may not be like a 5-star, he's not a moron, who writes. Well, and at this point, both Peter and Miguel are too stupid to figure out that the clear monster we have in front of him is a fusion of, Doc Ock and the Anti-Venom, who just got plummeted into the portal. Again, it gives me the idea that he was kind of forced to write some bits in order to justify the elongated plot.
I will say this, Jova. If that's indeed, assuming that you're right, that shows bad management on part of Beanox, though, because like from the moment they knew they will only have 1 year to make this game, no, you can't afford new assets. Reuse them as much as you can.
Well,
Like-
gee, Pedro, it's almost like Beanox may have had a terrible overhead company who might have forced them
Yeah.
to make a game yearly.
Oh,
yearly.
Again,
that actually ties
those were
into what I was gonna ask,
Those were
actually.
the years where Activision was extremely ruthless with its studios, like Double Helix with. I think it was Double Helix with a Battleship
Oh, okay.
game.
What you're saying
What
right
did you
now,
wanna ask,
Teo,
Pedro?
what Teo just said right now pretty much probably answers my question, but just to check, Teo, I'm pretty sure Beanox didn't have the luxury of having another studio help out with the development of this game. They,
No, they were responsible in making all versions, including the portable ones.
yeah, that pretty much explains it. Whereas, for as bad as the development crunch of Lightning Returns was, Toriyama and his team at least had the benefit of having Tri-Ace help out. So these guys didn't have that luxury. So there's your big difference
Not
right
just
there.
that, other games, licensed Marvel games we covered not too far ago, like even like stuff like the Iron Man games, either one or two, did have other studios developing, like say, the portable versions, meaning that one studio had to focus specifically on one version, another on another. Again, an ideal thought process behind that. Unfortunately, it wasn't still enough to save a couple of those, but at least there was an idea of not overbearing. Not for this one.
Activision were and still are ruthless. Like heck, even nowadays they force Blizzard to release stuff. Blizzard, a company which used to be lauded for never releasing a game until they were absolutely sure it was finished, have now released Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is now going on record to be the lowest rated user score thing on Metacritic at a 0.06. And what is the second worst thing? Oh, FIFA 20 for the Switch. So, figures.
It really does.
A match
It
made
really
in
makes you
hell.
think.
So let's see. One of them is a botched remake, and the other is a port for a current gen system, which is literally just using assets from FIFA 19, the previous one.
Well, Trevor, I can.
And before you say that, yes, they inform us on the box strips, well, whoopty freaking too. EA were upfront with their villainy. Doesn't change the fact that it is downright atrocious. Oh, speaking of atrocities,
Trevor, you hadn't let me say what I was going to say.
I guessed it because that's usually what you say to defend it. But
Anyway, what you're supposed to do in this room is to pull down the covers before this extremely ruthless time limit runs out. Otherwise, Atrocity will enter the room and it's an instant game over. Like, I have no idea how those things can prevent him to enter, but sure, whatever.
Maybe they were made by, God, what's that special company that makes those crazy gadgets in real life that are actually real, Pedro?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were asking something at me, Java. Could you repeat that, please?
What's that company that you show me on YouTube that makes those crazy appliances that actually do work in real life?
Oh, Flex Seal.
Maybe it's a Flex Seal window.
To stop Atrocity leaks fast.
Anyway,
To show you the power of Flex Tape, I saw this boat in half. Go ahead, Dribs.
Go on, Dwibs.
Alright, anyway, what I was going to say was, oh, sorry, I just saw something a bit weird on there. Anyway, at least the Switch version of, I mean, you can talk about what was actually in the game, but at least from what I understand, the Switch version of FIFA 20 is at least a functional game, whereas Warcraft 3 Reforged is a technical disaster.
You are true on that. Well, yeah. Like I said, Warcraft 3 Reforged is rated lower than that.
Yeah.
That's,
Congratulations, you have lower standards than EA.
a company that literally tried to mask FIFA 19
How
as
do you
FIFA
even?
20.
That doesn't even make any sense. So you're telling me, like, I know Activision is dumb, but seriously, you give Beanox a year to make versions not only for home consoles but for handhelds as well. Usually, the handhelds versions of these kinds of things are done by different developers, and they usually get these generic shovelware developers to do the mobile versions. You know.
Basically,
Funny you
there's
mentioned
no-
that because I was checking these days. Apparently, the Nintendo DS version of Thor: God of Thunder, which is regarded as the best one, was done by Way Forward of all people.
Oh, there you go then.
Wow. basically, Pedro, to give you a bit of in-depth look at Activision's mindset during the 2010s here, if something wasn't selling huge hotcakes like Call of Duty, and mind you, even Call of Duty was starting to wane back then because they were constantly running the iron hot on that one, but if something wasn't selling constantly big time here, chances were you were either going to get fired, your company destroyed, or you would just be submitted to working on Call of Duty endlessly.
Again, that's what happened to Raven Software. After Singularity, they've done nothing but helping the multiplayer Call of Duty games.
I'm actually wondering. I'm actually sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. For the record, Crash Bandicoot: Mind Over Mutant, while it may have sold below their expectations, was not necessarily a bad seller, but Activision decided, oh, we don't know what to do with Crash Bandicoot, which was basically code for it's not selling absolute hotcakes. And it's not like the quality of our games may have anything to do with it. No. It's clearly something people don't want anymore, and thus put it on ice for nearly a decade.
They're also responsible for the downfall of Radical Entertainment in general because
that was sad.
The studio had found a new put-to-weed prototype, which I actually really liked, at least the first one. For the second, Activision imposed a deadline, as per usual. Hold on.
Aside from not having a DNA recorder and being chased by Berserk Sushi.
Sushi? I get it.
Because it's a squid.
Part octopus. Wait a minute. But then don't you know that it's part octopus then?
I don't think this guy knows much of anything, Joe.
We're still going with the fucking banter. We're almost done with the game. Please, guys, light up.
Jesus, isn't there supposed to be some character development?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm actually wondering still to this day, why of all companies From Software decided to go to Activision for Sekiro's localization. It's so weird.
I guess we offered a decent amount of money for that.
I have to say,
it's so uncharacteristic of them, though. Go ahead.
Well, remember the thing is, that was only really a publishing deal because From Software self-published the game in Japan.
Oh, I get that, Webbs, but you'd think Activision would not be interested in a game like Sekiro, but I guess
he's right. I mean, also, Activision normally.
By the way, just letting you know. Sorry, Java, give me a second. Those glasses in the previous room could not contain Atrocity, but this one on the ceiling can.
Also, gotta love how
it works.
And gotta love how Atrocity's tentacles can still warp in and out. Apparently that makes Atrocity now a being with the power over the time portals, and it's never explained how that works. Made more sense
okay,
when it was stuck.
Hold on, Jova. If I squint really hard right now, I can pretend I'm playing the PS4 game. No, it's not working. Go ahead.
How do your eyes feel?
Hey, the page I got it. If I squint my eyes, I can pretend I'm in the PS1 game.
You were saying, Job, about Sekiro and Activision?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. I mean, it was a very weird move for Activision to take on. Sekiro is not usually their kind of pay grade, even when it comes to...
Well, I mentioned this somewhere else, but From Software had the publishing contracts with a couple of companies a bit all over the place. We had one for Microsoft, they had 2 games for Sega, stuff like that. Anyway, we don't
really managed to tear it free off screen.
Yeah, with his costume more torn apart, and it happened off screen. Yeah. Anyway, time for one of the more infamous part of the game. I managed to make it work quickly, but I heard that a lot of people actually raged upon this section. Basically, now you're in this particular room where you go with the DNA sampler, where you can get syringes from. There you go. And now you will have to trap Atrocity inside of a room, make him fall asleep using nerve gas, and then probe him in order to get the DNA material.
You know, they could have easily have made this section make more sense of just saying, okay, we got to find out his weakness, but the only way to do it is by getting him into the DNA chamber. That would make more sense. Oh yeah, Tio, you got so lucky.
Hold on. Pay attention to the cutscene of Spider-Man is presented. Hold on. Spidey, you're supposed to probe him, not rape him. Come on.
Oh, Jesus. Also, yeah, Tia, you got pretty lucky during that section.
Oh, just watch. It's pretty much going to be repeated for round 2 and 3. Because, yes, of course, one single DNA strand is not enough. You have to repeat this fucking thing 2 more times.
So it's kind of like the the 2002 video game where we're trying to ruin Oscorp's plans for chemical warfare.
Well, it's a mixture of that and also like the Spider-Man 2000 game.
Also, you
Remember
can
that
even turn invisible and teleport.
Nothing personal, bro.
I swear, Spider-Man. I swear that I didn't know Oscorp had a chemical weapons program.
Wow,
Really
you
easy,
got
barely an inconvenience.
Okay, do you want to tell audience how
really?
this normally goes?
Because-
Well, most people get stuck because the tentacles have a
Sorry-
very bad hit detection.
Sorry, Tay. We're rushing the fuck out of this game. We can't take too long with this thing. So, sorry.
Oh, wait. Jesus, you're not making
I'm not
that
even
look
sure
any
if that's
less
supposed to be
easy.
blood or something else, because it's pink.
It's it's blood, but it's censored to pink because
By the way,
parents.
until you actually put in the DNA machine, Atrocity will stay asleep like that. Just saying. Yeah, she right?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again, the reason they're doing this whole DNA thing is to figure out who's in that thing, even though they should know.
You
Again,
should be again the spy. Both of you, Spider-Man. You should be renamed Captain Obvious because you need it right now.
okay.
Meanwhile, the two guards from the Earth cartoon are doing the same thing again. Hey, the DNA lab, whatever you're doing in there, cut it out. Ah, don't worry, it's just a
There we go.
reference.
There we go. Easy enough.
Yeah, usually this boss is really feared by players because normally, well, you know how End of the World goes? Think something like that, only a boss fight.
Seriously with these.
Okay. What is up with the way these scenes are directed? Like,
I don't know.
Again, Spidey, you just need to take a sample, not shove that thing up his ass.
Again, this could have been saved by a bit of
wait,
writing.
I'm guessing.
Can you finally connect the dots?
I'm guessing he wants it to
Go
look
on.
cool.
Eh?
I couldn't get a read. That thing's a combination of Sloan, Octavius, and Anti-Venom.
Brilliant.
Mutated into that thing when they were shot.
Like, how many parts after these?
No shit, Sherlock.
At a guess, high voltage. Right
Yeah, and the weakest, by the way, is electricity. I don't know how that
guys,
works.
You know,
not
there-
for nothing, but maybe a weakness might be the gas that was able to neutralize them when we got Strands. Like,
Oh, it's you again.
Of course. He knows. So I know. Miguel, you're
oh God, you look terrible.
the villain here. I'm the guy who's trying to make everything right. Don't you get it?
Apparently I don't.
When the storm is fully unleashed, I'm going to harness the quantum
Of
energy.
course.
Complete control over the time stream.
What are you trying to play God?
The first creation of the
Spy, don't you know? Trying to play God is half the fun of mad science.
I get the
And of course, it all comes down to saving Uncle Ben.
had countless other
Also, Gwen Stacy.
kind of villain fixes it so that everyone gets to live happily ever after.
A lot of villains.
Oh my
do.
God.
What
Oh-
makes them the villain is that.
oh my God, Jova,
This is
Jova, I just
same
realized
thing
something.
that Captain America does to Doctor Doom in Secret Wars.
Oh my
You're
God,
saying,
God,
Or padding.
Oh, more padding.
I just realized something, Jova. Future Peter became Niall Samson. Like,
Oh God.
Gears 5 joke too.
I thought the plot twist was going to be that Mr. Negative was Uncle Ben.
You wish.
No, wait, we'll get to let's just say Gears 2 was not the last time someone in Gears tried to play God.
Of course.
Basically, though.
Oh, remember, Teo, Niall
yeah,
Samson was that scientist in the AI thing in Gears 2, remember? So basically he's back in Gears 5. But
Okay, how big is this freaking building?
How
What
tall
is even
it
the
is.
purpose?
Not just that. We were kind of like sort of at the bottom already because of we are the DNA, strand.
Hey, funny enough, that's a
Pretty
quote
big.
from the 2000 game. How tall is this thing?
And again, let me remind you folks, Tio is making this look easier than it is.
Well,
The
these triple
controls of these
sections are
terrible.
certainly not.
well, I will give it this. They sound like, unlike with God of War Freeze, it looks like they were a bit slower, so they're probably easier to react.
Oh,
No,
trust me,
the
We'll
bears
start
are by nature,
deceiving.
but as you can see, the obstacle move way too fast on their own.
I guess.
Basically, you're
And
forced.
now you're kind of at the bottom. Okay, now Spidey needs to find a way to get back up, but he cannot fly, obviously. So he needs to reactivate these pumping. Yeah, I'm just gonna speed up because fuck this shit. There's no major dialogue in this. Basically, what Spidey needs to do is to destroy some generators in order to power up these giant vents, so that it will speed him back up where he was. Again, the game finds another way to pad things out horribly.
Chaos
Oh,
control.
cool, Kingdom I see
Sorry,
you're using the Tron world.
The
theme
Space
from
Paranoid
Kingdom
battle theme. It's specifically the remixed one. Well, the perfected one for the 2.5 version.
Actually, I guess I'll explain. Basically, to answer your question earlier, Jova, well, might as well ask. Basically, there's a joke in the Earth from Jim cartoon where they see both Jim without a suit and his friend Pete and Booger pass by them, and the two guards are like, did I just see a walking, talking worm, a walking, talking dog, and a booger? And then he picks up the phone. Hey, the DNA lab, whatever you guys are doing in there, cut it out. So that's what I was referencing earlier. That reminds me, Dwebs. Does Universal have their own streaming service yet? I forgot it.
They're going to launch one called Peacock.
All right. Hopefully they'll put in the Earthworm Jim cartoon there because that thing hasn't been on Netflix. It hasn't been on anything.
Wait. The Universal on the rights to Earthworm Jim?
According to our YouTube channel, Jova, yes. Because when I try to put the cartoon theme in our Raw of Earthworm Jim 2, NBC Universal tagged it. So.
Huh.
Alright, maybe we
So
can
now
go back
we are
to the plot
literally-
now.
Now we are literally doing a free fall section, but upward.
In reverse.
I can fly!
Or,
So
other than
yes,
that, you're basically encouraged to speed up, otherwise you will be burned by the collateral damage. Ow.
So even if you want to try and take things at your own pace, sorry, you gotta speed up, which means terrible controls.
You have to check out.
Okay,
Sorry.
what would you say is worse? These or the back speed sections?
Oh, definitely.
Well, I guess
I'm gonna
the max
say
speed
these.
sections kill you on just kill you very mercilessly. This at the very least looks like you at the very least,
these are a bit more merciful whips.
especially definitely way better than the fucking
Oh.
Crisis City one, because the Crisis City one is the more bullshit one.
Cornelius was carrying a car.
Yeah.
I guess to me, I found the max speed sections to be better, if only because with them you just gotta focus on, jumping and moving to the right and left good for the most part. Whereas here, you gotta move in 4 directions, and what's worse is that.
And not
this
just
game
that, you're on a grid, not even free movement. It's only the simulation.
I would agree with you, but only for the max speed level of Lost World.
Alright, so we're fine, right? Wrong. Now you have to survive all of these fucking zombies.
Oh yay!
Yep, we're throwing in zombies now.
Well,
I
they
got
were
a minute.
in the previous part, Jova. They're the
Oh,
ones
right,
who
the
sucked up on
mutants.
data.
Hang on, what's the Eye of Harmony from Doctor Who doing here?
Not
Reasons.
just a coincidence.
Indeed.
More
Not
of
just
these
that.
mutants.
Now basically this will become another plot point in a sense that there you go. Now the zombies will be apparently too much, even though in the previous part we've seen that there weren't many. And now Miguel will have to ask Peter to cause quantum causality in order to halt their production, quote unquote.
Makes you wonder why he didn't just do that from the get-go.
I guess he wasn't thinking of the
Because-
long run.
Because shut up, that's why.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Again, Miguel here is supposed to be the kind of guy
The
who
more
thinks the
intelligent
long
of the
game.
two.
That's the thing too. I think the pressure of being the smartest, he came under that pressure.
I guess.
The pressure.
Run,
The,
Spidey.
How do you know, Spidey?
I know because I must know too. It is my purpose.
not even a sign or
let me try my best,
anything.
Peter voice. I know because I must know too.
yeah.
That's my purpose.
Well, But not just that. Again, I get it that thanks to the timeline change, Peter became an operator at the new Alchemax building. But I'm not if that qualified him to know the perimeter of the entire building, especially even if it changed that much. Anyway, see you for the next part.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.